Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is I want you to complete this warm-up from 6.4. It's solving using synthetic or direct substitution. I want you to use synthetic, but you can check it with direct substitution. Just make sure you're doing the right thing. So that's the first thing I want you to do. I will attach that to the email when I send you the video, so you'll have a copy of that. All right, so the notes that I'm going to give you, I may have to do these in two because it might take a long time, especially for some of these. All right, so we are going to start with our 6.5 notes. So I'm expecting you to be able to divide polynomials, and you're going to have to be able to divide them in different ways. You're going to have to be able to divide them with long division and also be able to divide them synthetically. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start off with dividing them by long division. All right, so dividing them by long division. First thing you got to do is just like with synthetic, you got to make sure you have all of your terms. So we have x to the fourth, x to the third. We're missing an x squared. So we're going to have to fill that in with a 0x squared. And then plus 5x and then minus 1. All right, and we're dividing it by x squared minus 2x plus 2. Again, we got to make sure we have all of our terms for that. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to write this x squared minus 2x plus 2 out front of our division bracket. So x squared minus 2x plus 2. And then we're going to write this underneath of it. Don't forget about the 0x squared. So it's 2x to the fourth plus 3x to the third plus 0x squared plus 5x minus 1. All right, so that's setting it up. So now once we have it set up, what we're going to do is this. You're going to take the first term under here and you're going to divide it by the first term out here. All right, so we're going to take our 2x to the fourth and we're going to divide it by x squared. When we do that, the x squared cancels out and this gives us an x squared. So we're left with 2x squared. All right, now one of the things you have to know about polynomial long division is that these are all columns that are created. So only x to the fourth terms can go here. Only x to the thirds, only x to the second, only x's, and only constants. All right, so since we divided it and we got 2x squared, that has to go in our 2x squared column, which is right above the 0x squared. So we put 2x squared there. All right, now we have to multiply. So we multiply this term up top by the last term here. So 2x squared times positive 2 gives us a positive 4x squared. Notice it goes right in our x squared column. All right, then we take the 2x squared, and now we got to multiply it by the second term. So 2x squared times the negative 2x, and that gives us a negative 4x cubed. Then we got to take our 2x squared, and we got to multiply it by the front term. So 2x squared times x squared, which gives us 2x to the fourth. All right, and that first term should always be the same as the one above it. That's why we did this division out here first. All right, so now, just like in polynomials, just like when we did long division with numbers, now we're going to subtract. But I'm going to tell you, it's easier. We are subtracting, all right? But it's easier if we change this to an addition and then just make everything in here the opposite. So this becomes a negative, this becomes a positive, and then this becomes a negative. All right, now we're just going to follow the rules for addition. So 2x to the fourth plus a negative 2x to the fourth, they cancel out. 3x to the fourth plus 4x to the third, or 3x to the third plus 4x gives us 7x to the third. All right, and then 0x squared plus a negative 4x squared gives us a negative 4x squared. All right, and then just like long division, we're going to drop this one down. So it's going to be plus 5x. All right, now we're going to start over again. So now we're going to take our first term and divide it by our first term. So we're taking our 7x to the third, that's the first term here, dividing it by x squared. and that leaves us with a 7x. So it's a positive 7x, so we put it here, positive 7x. All right, now we're going to multiply. So 7x times the 2, and that's going to give us plus 14x. And then 7x, positive 7x, times a negative 2x gives us a negative 14x squared. And then 7x times x squared gives us a 7x to the third. And now again, we are going to subtract. But again, I'm telling you, you want to change this to addition and then make all these the opposite, which is the same as subtracting. All right, so the first terms cancel out. We got a negative 4x squared and a positive 14x squared, which gives us 10x squared. Then we got a positive 5x and a negative 14x, which gives us a negative 9x. And then we drop down this last one. So drop down our negative 1. All right, and now we start over again. So again, first thing we do, we take the first term out here, divide it by our first term up here. So we got 10x squared divided by x squared. The x squareds cancel out, leaves us with a positive 10. So up top, we put a positive 10. Now we're going to multiply again. So again, 10 times 2 gives us 20, positive 20. 10, positive 10, times a negative 2x gives us a negative 20x. And then a positive 10 times x squared gives us 10x squared. All right. Now again, we're going to subtract, but again, we're going to just change this to addition and make all these the opposites. This becomes a negative, that becomes a positive, that becomes a negative. All right. So the 10x squareds cancel out. Negative 9x and a positive 20x give us 11x. A negative 1 plus a negative 20 gives us a negative 21. All right. So now you're done with the hard part. Now you just got to write your answer. All right, so our answer is going to look like this. All right, so we take what we have up top. We take our 2x squared plus 7x plus 10. And then we do plus. And then we take our remainder, 11x minus 21, over what we were dividing by. So our x squared minus 2x plus 2. And that is actually your answer that you get when you divide those out. All right? So polynomial long division is difficult and it takes time to do it. All right? All right. So next we have what's called the remainder theorem. All right? And the remainder theorem simply says that if you take a polynomial and you divide it by x minus k, then the remainder is r, and that's going to be what f of k is equal to. And that's pretty much what we did before, is we had that remainder and we said, well, that's what we would get if we would substitute in that for it. All right? So now, using the synthetic division to divide. All right? So synthetic division. Now again, we did synthetic substitution. Synthetic division is pretty much the same thing, except you have to do one additional step. This x minus 2, you have to set it equal to 0 and solve it for x. So we would add 2 to both sides, and we would get x equals 2. So that's your first step. So now we're going to set it up. So again, this is a. We set it up. Now this 2 goes out front here. We make sure we have all of our terms, and we do, x to the third, x to the second, x, and a constant. So we put all of our coefficients up here. So 1, a 2, a negative 6, and a negative 9. All right, now we drop the first term down. We multiply, 2 times 1, put the answer here. We add, we multiply, the answer goes here. We add, and then we multiply, and then we add. All right? So now when we do that, what we actually get here for an answer is this. You take 1 away from this power. So this first term is not going to be an x to the third. It's going to be 1 less, so it's going to be x squared. So it would give us x squared plus 4x plus 2. And then use that sign, minus. And then our remainder, which is 5, is our remainder. So that is our remainder over what we're dividing by. And we're dividing by x minus 2. So if we would have done it by long division, that's the answer we would have gotten. So that's how you get your answer when you're doing it with synthetic division. All right, so I'll show you one more on this, and then I'm going to stop right there. All right, so again, first thing we do is we take our x plus 3, set it equal to 0, and we solve. So minus 3, x equals negative 3. So again, we make our bracket. We put our negative 3 out front. We take all of our coefficients. We have them all. So 1, 2, negative 6, and negative 9. And then we do our synthetic division. All right, so we drop our first term down. Multiply, add, multiply, add, and then multiply and add. Now, getting that 0 is important, all right? Getting that 0, we're going to see what it means, but it really